Welcome, everyone. If you are just tuning in, Shannon and I were actually speaking for the past 5 minutes and thought we were live.
Totally oblivious.
So we are now hopefully actually live. Thanks for joining in with us. And we're just going to pretend like none of that ever happened. So,
Yay, technology!
If you're just joining in, my name's Paul Ballinger. This is Shannon Acosta.
Hey.
We're both advisors here at Benchmark. And if you know Benchmark, you know our passion is just about education and just furthering financial literacy here in Memphis and hopefully out throughout the entire U.S. And eventually the world. We're not putting limits on ourselves. But this month we are going over the topic of debt and just what that looks like, how to approach it wisely. And so right now we are in Shannon's office, and so we are going from office to office. Next week we'll be in another advisor's office, and so we're just wanting to tackle those questions one at a time. And as you'll have them, please feel free to leave comments in the section below. We're watching, and we're happy to answer as many as we can. And if you ever want to look back on these videos and find them at a later time, they'll be on our website as well, completely free. If you know of anyone that could benefit from them, let them know as well, benchmarkwealth.net. But with that said, we'll kick off today. And so we have a couple questions today, but one is, we get this a lot. I personally see it a lot in our meetings and my personal meetings, but it's, hey, you know what? I know what the debt snowball is. I know debt's bad. I want to get it out of my life, but at the end of the month, I don't have enough money to put on these debts to get them out of my life. I feel like I'm not making a dent. How do I find more ways to pay that off faster? Shannon, what would you say about that?
Sure. Well, thanks for joining us, first of all. And second of all, I like this question because it allows people to get creative, but it is uncomfortable. Anything that you do to create extra money in order to apply it toward your debt is going to create discomfort. There's going to be change. You're going to have to make sacrifices. The alternative, however, is to continue paying minimum payments for years and have a restricted lifestyle for a really long time. And in my opinion, that's more uncomfortable, especially in the long run, than it is to make some of these shorter term adjustments. There's two ways to create extra money. You can earn it, or extra income, first of all. This is probably the most uncomfortable of the solutions that we'll talk about. I had one client who got a second full-time job. He worked day shift, night shift with a newborn at home. All of this because he wanted his family to get on a more stable financial footing before and as his children were growing up. So this guy had a tremendous amount of sacrifice and discipline, and I was honored just to hear his story. And he was tired, but he was joyful. You know, he was beaming when he told the story. You could tell he was really proud of the choices that he had made. If you don't want to go that extreme, there are a lot of options, especially in today's economy: walking dogs, babysitting, delivering food. It doesn't have to be a full-time commitment, and it can be as you choose. Another way to bring extra money in the door is by selling what you've already got in it. You can look around and probably identify at least $100 worth of stuff that you could pitch on Facebook Marketplace. And I've actually never told anybody this before, except for the first time we did this when Facebook Live wasn't actually on.
5 minutes ago? Yeah. Okay.
But first time I publicly said this, I sold my wedding dress when my husband and I had been married for about 6 months to help us get out of debt. And I don't regret it. I don't think I would ever be able to fit into it again anyway. And it would just maybe be a little depressing. But there's things you can do to bring extra money in the door, again, uncomfortable though they may be. The second way that you can put extra money toward your debt is by reducing what you're spending and take that placeholder and apply it directly to the debt snowball. One way to do this is to cut expenses out. So for example, if you signed up for HBO Max because you wanted to watch one show and now you're done with it, might be time to cut that and put the money toward your debt every month. Comb through and see how much you're spending eating out every month. See if there's any gym memberships that you're not using. It's going to take some time and you'll have to increase awareness of what you're spending. But that's kind of low-hanging fruit if you're willing to make a little bit of lifestyle adjusting. The other thing you can do is to downsize. The more your stuff costs, the more your stuff costs. If you live in a really big home, your utility payments are going to be higher, your property taxes are going to be higher, your homeowner's insurance is going to be higher. Drastic though it may be, moving to something with a smaller footprint can help free up some money in your monthly budget in multiple different fronts, not just the obvious one with your mortgage. Also consider downsizing your car. An older model is going to charge less in car insurance than a newer model will. A more baseline model will charge less in car insurance than a luxury model might. So you have some flexibility and options if you just look around at what you're paying for and see if there's a way to get the cheaper version of that thing.
And to that point, Shannon, one fact that has stuck with me ever since I first heard it 10 years ago is one of the biggest hurdles to building wealth and creating a legacy and living and giving like no one else down the road is just your living costs slowly increasing with your income. And so it's just, oh, I make a little bit more now, I can spend a little bit more. And it's losing that discipline of knowing where every dollar is going. And so that's just something that always sticks with me, and that kind of hits on that head too.
That's true, that lifestyle creep.
Yep.
So check and see if anything has crept up on you as opposed to what you really need in order to keep your four walls in place and support your family the way that they need to be. Finally, you can reduce your expenses by getting creative in other ways. I had a client who got a couple of roommates. This person owned their own home and lived alone. So they found somebody to come in and share with the mortgage. I knew of somebody who had their kids buying school lunches every day. They figured out that if they made sandwiches at home, they could save, quite a bit of money every month, and they put that toward their debt. I've had people cancel gym memberships and do free community options like joining a local running club or an outdoor boot camp fitness type thing. So there's ways to get creative, which is what I love about this question. But again, none of them are going to be easy. That's why, more than anything, if you want to put extra money toward your snowball and it's hard, you need an accountability partner. A friend who's in the same boat as you, a financial coach, one of us. But you're going to have better odds of success and you're going to have more fun doing it if you've got somebody on your team.
Yeah.
The other question that we're going to tackle today is about debt and collections. Hall, what do you do if your debt is in collection?
Yeah, so this one is a little bit more of a targeted question, and we want to be specific and make sure that we're not only covering those bigger topics, but some of those that are a little bit more in the niche. And so we get this somewhat frequently, but it's, hey, I have some debts that are in collection. I haven't paid on them in years. They just keep pestering me and I just keep ignoring them. What do I do about that? More times than not, if that's the case, there might be some other, and I'm going to categorize it in two different sections right now, but I'm going to call that dead debt. And current debt that you're paying on that you've not missed payments on, we're going to call that live debt. And we want to first encourage you, just go ahead and tackle that live debt first. And so if it's already passed and you're not paying on it, it's been years, they can wait a little bit longer. Go ahead and make sure that you're prioritizing what's currently being needed to pay off. And then once you tackle that, then let's focus on this dead debt. Now, if you have a 6-digit student loan debt, there can be some wiggle room, and if that's you, let's talk about it or find someone that can help put a plan in place together. But once you tackle that live debt, let's look to tackle that dead debt. And so the first thing you want to do is list them. So you want to list them out just like you would in a debt snowball, smallest to largest, but you're not going to pay on all of them at once. You're going to do it one at a time. When you wake these sleeping giants, they're going to come after you. So you want to make sure you're being intentional and you have a game plan ready for when you do reach out to them. Because once they know you're on the hook and active, they're going to come for you until they know they've gotten the money out of you. And what happens here is, let's say you have a debt in collection of $12,000 for a super nice couch or a car, and you never paid on it or you've stopped paying on it. And so that company, they eventually said, okay, we're going to write this off as a lost cause. We're going to sell this to a debt collection agency. They sell it for pennies on the dollar. And so now that collection agency, the way they make their money is they buy that $12,000 debt for, let's say, $1,000. And then they know any money they make over $1,000 off of you is income to their business. So one, they are eager to find a deal. They're eager to settle for anything that's going to bring income into their company. And so after you do that, when you target and reach out to that first debt collector, know and be ready that, hey, I want to settle. I want to make sure that we can come to a mutual agreement on what's realistic here. That might be that's going to be different in every situation, but just figure out what's a realistic number to shoot for. Do some research behind it, and then do not pay anything to that company until you have it in writing, whether it's in paper, an email, whatever it may be, what the agreed upon amount is. Don't let a dollar go out of your bank account before you have that, and make sure you hold on to that for forever so you have record of it, and that there can be there's no wiggle room for them to come back and say, actually, we wanted you to pay this amount. So just make sure that is absolutely imperative. The next step is, when you do come to that agreed upon price, do not give them access to your bank account. Absolutely do not do that. You want to instead issue a cashier's check or something of that nature, just to make sure that they don't have that access. You want to do this one transaction with them and be done with them forever. So it's better to just never let them have that access. They're probably going to ask for it. Say, no, I'm going to get you your money. This is how it's coming. And so eventually, once you start to tackle each of those debts that are in collections, you're going to slowly be able to take them off one by one, and it's going to continue to help build credit for the future as well. And ideally, as we all know, we would love to not even need credit, just to be yourself insured and to build up that wealth for on down the road. If you want to learn more about that, stay tuned. We got a full year of these programs ready for y'all, and we're excited to share them. And thanks again for tuning in. Again, you can find these on our website at benchmarkwealth.net. We'll be back next week at 12. We'll start on time that next week, and then we'll have a couple more debt questions to cover, and we're looking forward to it.